from Dell. Hello guys, welcome.
Hi.
The World Hosting Days 2012. How was your trip from the UK to Germany?
Good, very good. We spent a bit of time in second class, so it was pretty good. I think our colleague John Igo enjoyed it immensely.
And are you enjoying the World Hosting Days so far? Weather is fine?
Yeah, fantastic. This is the second year actually that Dell have sponsored it, and we've, as you've probably seen, we've got the booth in the middle of the actual the main forum, so we've upped the sponsorship. Fantastic. Oh, great to be here.
Well, the stage is yours.
Okay. So good afternoon everyone. I'm kind of wary that I think myself and Paul are standing between you guys and a whole heap of beer, so we'll make this succinct to the point, but hopefully packed with information.
There's only about 400 slides, so bear with us. The beer is waiting.
So as a introduction actually to ourselves, so I work as a sales engineer across the complete EMEA region. It's quite a unique group that we both sit in actually. We kind of class it as an incubation engine, which means we will take disciplines into our group before they're actually adopted into the mainstream business. I don't want to kind of say that everyone's going to understand what DCS is and PowerEdge and come the acronyms that I will use. So I just want to do a level set of the businesses that I currently look after. So DCS, Data Center Solutions, is one of the business lines that I look after across EMEA on behalf of Dell. DCS has been established just over around 4.5 years now. It was initially created on a twofold approach really. We were looking at the marketplace and we were thinking to ourselves, looking at market share of x86, and we wasn't as prevalent as we wanted to be in some of the large hyperscale data centers. So that was our reason to start customizing x86 designs for customers. The other reason we was approached by some of the customers like Microsoft to say, hey, could you guys design something very specific around our applications within our data center? So lo and behold, DCS was created. If we wind the clock forward 4.5 years, about a couple of years ago we created a business line called PowerEdge, and this was taking some of the good designs that we created with DCS and bring them over into the mainstream business. The third business that I actually work on as well is what I class as our revolutionary cloud approach, and that would include what we do around initiatives around OpenStack and big data, so Hadoop. So this slide just really summarizes what we did with from DCS to PowerEdge. We just made those designs more readily available to the mass market, but we still cater for particular workloads and particular usage models.
So last year Andy Rhodes was here, and thank you for coming back. Such huge numbers as well. But we do appreciate your time, very seriously. Last year we covered 5 areas that we felt we as Dell had learned from our customers. And the obvious question now is, here we are a year on, and what has changed? So we intend to cover in the next 15-20 minutes what Dell's view from our customers is of what has changed in the last year. And we hope in the questions at the end you can share your opinion and your views as well. Tony?
So point number one that we was discussing last, point number one that we were discussing last year was TCO. So everything that we want to provide to our customers in DCS is built around TCO and value back into their data center and providing efficiency, etc. So we want to continue that. That's not going to change. But the key kind of change is that the TCO belongs to the vertical. Yeah, so what I'm saying here is that we have a generic TCO model, but what we pretty much do with that is adapt it into the marketplaces that we sell PowerEdge into as an example. So in the hosting space, for instance, the way that you run IT is going to be, and the services you deliver from that IT are going to be very different to the way, say, someone would be running Monte Carlo analysis within the finance markets. So we want to work with the verticals and the customers within to adapt the TCO model. We don't think a generic TCO works. So as this slide points out, it's for your business, we have to create around that business model.
We had an obvious question last year, which I think John Igo referred to, about in one of the answers to the questions was about executive indecision. Now, last year we were saying, don't let the status quo, the things that are already as they are, hold you back in your business. And that's a really key point, because if Tony, we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. This year's seen a lot of reports and feedback from the analysts, and you can kind of read the piece there. Again, John Igo said that we're at one of these inflection points, one of these change points in the IT industry. And I like this IDC image where we have at the base, it's not a pipeline, it's not an ice cream cone. We have kind of a 10-year view up to 2020 of, at the moment, millions of users with thousands of applications into the world that many of the younger folks are very familiar with, where you simply have trillions and billions of things on the internet. The Internet of Things is very apparent. And right now we have felt that as we speak to you, service providers, hosters, cloud builders, you are experienced at talking to your customers about IT as a service, the outputs from technology. And we feel that is a very strong momentum that you as our customers should drive into your customer base. They are wanting to talk to you about as a service IT, which the next slide shows very clearly. And that if last year we were talking extensively about what could be done, we now see dollars being put against this and reported from some of the larger organisations. Sure, I get that. It's the larger organisations that get the headlines. But you can see, we just look at Rackspace, it's a significant growth. Key point of not letting the status quo hold you back is if you are still thinking, should we do this, you are now, we believe, in great danger of missing the boat. The ship is in great danger of sailing without you. So that inflection point is here.
So another point we talked about last year was this is really talking about the kind of driving efficiency into the infrastructure. So I've been spending the last couple of days on the booth, and obviously we have a couple of hyperscale pieces of technology within the C5220, which is a microserver offering, and then upping the performance in game with the C6220. A lot of the customers I've seen the last couple of days, and also previous to being here, have kind of asked me, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you push innovation into technology? You know, if you stand up, you know, an Intel architecture at chipset level against them, it's the same. You know, you can't do a lot with memory DIMMs and disks, etc. But it's how you package the systems. So if you look, the way we do it is pretty much look at, so where it says customers told us at the top here, this is a problem statement, and we welcome problem statements when we're designing technology. So customers within HPC, I want to run higher bin speed. So our previous generation of technology at a TDP level could only run 95 watt processors. The next generation goes up to 135 watt. And this is problem statements that are constantly coming from customers, and we will address. I'll let you read through these, but I'll pick out some of the key ones. I want to run at higher ambient temperatures to save on facility TCO. So the work that we do within the firmware and the BIOS, and even down to fan curve level, and how we architect that to be a variable fan speed rather than static, allows us to run at a more higher ambient temperature within the data center. More feedback came around improving the serviceability of our cooling systems. Our previous generation, you couldn't actually do a quick disconnect onto the fans. We've now actually encompassed that within the system. I need the flexibility to run multiple configurations. Previous generation, it was a very fixed configuration against each of the sleds or the servers within our chassis. We can now mix and match, as long as it's in the same architecture, we can now mix and match configurations. So to summarise here, it's at a technology level and infrastructure level, we want to provide as much flexibility as we can engineer into our systems. Okay, so don't allow bad code to dictate the hardware architecture. The ones who do will be at commercial disadvantage. Let me explain. That's what we've done over the last year. This is a complex slide, so I'll step through it slowly. looking at the two axes here, so looking at, you know, driving up efficiency over time. Dell's about choice now, you know, and over the last year we built this out. We have that evolutionary and revolutionary approach for customers to look at cloud services. So evolutionary, so I don't know if any of you guys went to John Igo's presentation. He had a fantastic slide that kind of took you through customers moving from traditional IT to virtualization, and then looking at the orchestration, or embracing the orchestration of private or public cloud. So we have solutions in our kit bag now that can address this, and that would be within vCloud or VIS. If you look up the other end, this is more the big bang approach in some ways, but the revolutionary approach is where we're working with service providers or hosting companies that are looking at disciplines like OpenStack as an example, and want to put that orchestration on top of their managed services that they're offering to their companies, customers, to sell out as a cloud offering. So we are there for the choice of both routes to the cloud. The end goal in mind at the end of the day from both of these is, you know, to reduce the actual administration overhead, to reduce the actual storage costs, the network costs, and to actually drive the efficiency and utilization back into the data center.
Kind of running ahead of time, you're probably thinking, gee, they had 5 things to share last year and they're at number 5 already, and you're all looking at your watches and you're thinking of that fantastic German beer, and now I am going to delay you because I am on my favourite part. Oh yes. What is a cloud washing? Let me just go back. Sorry. What is a cloud washing? Does anyone in this room not have a competitor? Oh, come on. You're a very shy group. I love you for it. We've seen a lot in previous years of organisations saying this is a cloud. Now what they meant was my product is the cloud. And we certainly deal with our competitors who will turn around and say you should buy this product because it is a cloud in a box. And that is a nice phrase. If you are an organisation that wants to buy a cloud, please come and talk to us. Bring your credit card. And I've also got a bridge in London that I can sell you. And by the way, do you want to host the Olympic Games? It's only about 12 billion. I've spent most of this year, so has Tony, our colleagues in the team, talking with organisations who start the conversation pretty much like this. Hi Dell, I want a cloud. And we go, hi Mr. Mrs. Customer, what do you want to do with it? And then the room will divide. One half will go, what I want to do is improve my ERP system that I sell to small businesses, and I want to deliver that as a service with a recurring revenue. And we go, excellent, we will talk about the OpenStack platform, about optimized infrastructure, about a whole heap of stuff to help you as a business grow and thrive, and in very basic terms, make a bunch of cash. More than that. Whatever number you're thinking of, it's more than that. Remember how the cloud was growing. The other half of the room, I'm sorry guys, this is not personal. The other half of the room would go, I don't know what I want to do with my cloud. So we can flip the slide around. I'm sorry, Tony. If you're bored group, if you're a founder and you're the sole founder, this is less of a challenge. If there's 2 of you in the business, I guarantee you will have 2 different ideas about what service it is that you wish to sell in the cloud, from the cloud, on the cloud, whatever the cloud is. John Igo talked about the peak hype expectation. I do believe we will soar through that also. But it will be organisations that have a very, very clear vision of exactly how they are going to turn the technology and the service that they are selling into money. And we make no apology for this. We are about helping you turn the cloud and technology into money. But one of the key lessons we've learned is the people that we feel will make the most money have a very strong vision of what service or services they will deliver themselves, and what service or services they will need to partner with. And we believe the great winners will be those that will have a good blend of both. Now, obviously, there'll be an ecosystem supplying those winners. Okay, there'll be an ecosystem supplying the losers as well. But it's business, and the secret will be, are you going to be able to turn your cloud into more money than your competitors? Are you going to be able to do it by selling at a lower rate or selling a higher valued product? And that is probably our key single lesson from you last year. People who are really going to profit from this have this vision. They can name the type of service that they want to deliver. They can name the type of service that will raise the highest revenues, the greatest margin levels. They will know what value adds they're going to make. Bottom line is, you know what your own business is and you know what your customers will bear. The value we can add is all about the infrastructure, the platform, how to reduce costs, how to improve efficiency, how to offer something that's innovative and different. And whether that's to buy someone else's and run your service, or whether that's taking the OpenStack approach and looking at what intellectual property you can develop that will be unique to you as a business. And we do get asked, can you help us devise this strategy? If investors, your board of directors, your ideas people all come up with different ideas, can you, Dell, help us articulate what the revenue streams would need to be, the return on investment? And the answer is an absolute, undoubted, yes, we can and we will. It'll cost you a bunch of money to get these answers out of us, but we will help facilitate these answers out of your brain onto the spreadsheet, onto the business plan. That is classic consulting. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have to be prepared to invest your own time and your own money with our consultants. But back to the key point, what we cannot do is fill these balloons with ideas for you. And I hope one of you asked the question, why would you not be able to do that? The answer is, if I could fill those balloons with super profitable, super high revenue ideas, do you know, I don't think I'd be working for Dell. I'd be sitting there listening to me going, yeah, I've got all that in here already, my friends. And I don't think I'd be at this event. I'd be counting the money. And we constantly get asked, is this about how you reduce costs to allow you to compete with an Amazon or Rackspace? And we would go back to every business question. Are you competing with them if your service is, say, video and TV on demand? As an example. And if you are competing with them, then you maybe have to reduce your costs and compete with someone whose wallet is that big. But if you are not competing with them, then maybe your costs are under fine control. Maybe what you're selling needs to be sharpened. And again, technology is a really good way of sharpening the quality of your service. I think, Tony, that's pretty much where we finish. We'd like to pin you back with the 5 lessons learned again, and then open the floor up to questions, if we may. Thank you.
Well, take an applause. I mean, they made a short, actually an even too short session. Yeah. Well, we said 25 minutes. I know about the view. Well, but there's another session after this one, so people must wait in any case. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you have got any questions for our 2 friends from Dell, they will be happy to answer them. Just raise your hand. We'll come to you with the microphone. No questions? Let me break the ice because we have got a little bit of time.
Very fine.
So, what's new? What's new at Dell since the last World Hosting Days?
So what's new? Basically, we're known as a traditional hardware provider. Yeah, I think that's evident if you look at our history at the end of the day. But I think if you look at what we're doing organically and inorganically via, our own homegrown IP, intellectual property within Dell, and through acquisitions that we're bringing IP in, there's a big focus around providing a complete IT solution stack out to the marketplace. Quite recently we set up which was out in the public domain, the Dell Software Group, which is headed under John Swainson. So there's shifts away from purely providing infrastructure out into the data center. We want to be, we don't want to be part of a project. We want to actually be delivering that project. So that's a big change for Dell, big step forward.
Okay. If there aren't any other questions, well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
This is your applause. And Tony Stewart and Paul Brook from Dell.
Thanks a lot.